Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Ranchman. We got information on Binghamton, New York, and the return from winter warm-up. Let's just go.
Hey, let's just go.
Let's just go.
Hey, it's Bobby Cool, Daddy Slick Breeze. Have Eric McBinghamton.
McBinghamton.
McBinghamton McCabe.
I don't feel like that's that hard of a name to say.
I don't know why it's so hard to say.
Binghamton.
Binghamton.
And Robert says everything correctly, McCall.
No, Robert definitely doesn't say everything correct. There it is. I wish that was on purpose.
I rest my case. So we're here for episode 205 at the Disc Golf Ranchman. Just chilling here in Emporia, Kansas. The weather is 50 degrees.
It seems a lot colder than 50.
It does. I think because of the wind.
It is the wind. The wind is horrible today.
Here's what's frustrating me. It looks nice. Like you look outside, it's sunny and everything, and you're thinking,
the branches are just moving just a little.
The branches are waving at you.
Yeah.
And then you walk outside and it smacks you in the face.
Yeah, it sucks.
Smacks you in the face. So
that's why I intend to go practice disc golf today.
Are you really?
No.
Okay.
It's definitely not.
So, but speaking of disc golf, let's see. Me and Robert McCall and Anthony returned from Louisville, Texas. We were out there for the winter warm-up, which was ran by Dynamic Disc Carrollton. The crew out there, Steve O'Story, did an amazing job. Bradley Crow, Johnny. I don't even know Johnny's last name. Do you know Johnny?
Are you serious?
I don't.
It's Johnny on the disc.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all one word.
On the disc. So anyway, they did a great job out there. Kudos to them for running a great event. It was sold out. And what I thought was, not cool for the people on the wait list, but was cool is what did they say? I think maybe one person didn't show up out of 100 people that signed up.
It was 180.
180, my bad. 180. So
was there anybody on the wait list that got in?
The one person.
Yeah.
I saw Steve.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Only one person didn't show up and one person got on, but the rest of people on the waiting list.
Well, it's something about this time of year too. Everybody's jonesing to get out and play disc golf. The winter warm up. I don't recall if it happened last year. I feel like it did. But was it at Louisville?
It may not have been at Louisville.
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember and I could be wrong, but I don't remember the new layout at Louisville getting played at a winter warm up.
It may not have been that. I know they've played it at least one Louisville Open or whatever the one in September is.
Yeah.
Or the Old Man
Memorial.
Maybe one of those, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just exciting to kind of see disc golf kind of getting reared up and ready to go for this season, so that was fun. It was not our first official trip in the DDRV.
Second official trip in the DDRV.
But it was our first official camp at an RV park.
Oh, nice.
Which actually, it really wasn't bad.
Did it go well?
Yeah. Well, we got in, we pulled in, parked, and I was like, I don't know. I get excited for traveling in the RV, and I was like, we're here, we're parked. Let me plug it in. And as soon as I got the cord out, we were like 5 feet short from the whatever you plug it in.
And nobody was in the dock next to us or whatever it's called. So we asked, hey, can we switch? And they're like, nah. Find a different cord.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. So we had to go get a converter and an extension cord. But now we have those things moving forward.
Yeah. But it was nice. As soon as we were plugged in, we were good to go.
Did you move the RV all week? Did you leave in the morning when you went to the courses and all that?
We went ahead and drove and parked the RV next to the other to Steve-O's to kind of have that big presence.
Yeah, plus,
we did check-in in front of it.
Yeah, so they had check-in in front and then merchandise in front of the other. That way it was kind of a little less congested. And
That's awesome.
But it was a good time. Great experience. It was really cool. The new layout is really interesting. You've got 4 holes that are really deep within the woods. It was just kind of cool. Really threw me off because it had been about 3 years since I'd been there.
Mm-hmm. So you haven't seen the new layout.
No,
then.
so it threw me off. In fact, I got lost at one point trying to look around. It was like, whoa, I've been here, but I haven't been here.
Yeah.
So
it's a fun new layout, though. I enjoy the layout.
Yeah.
It's definitely more lefty friendly than in the past.
Sure.
Yes.
And the holes in the woods have a little bit of cleaning left. Not a lot. There are pretty defined fairways, at least for the first bit of several of.
It's mainly around the green.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few trees that I think strategically take those out, and this is a really fair, difficult hole.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I've seen courses in much worse shape, woods-wise, than they've used there. You can tell that they've put in a lot of work there.
Like that picture on Facebook of, is this disc in? And that branch is sticking over, and it's hanging on a branch inside the basket.
You should probably trim that.
Man, you should get some clippers.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Bradley Williams for winning the winter warm-up.
Yeah, spoiler alert, he's good at disc golf.
He's pretty good.
He won the next day at Audubon as well.
He did?
Yeah. Eric Oakley came in second there, and Brad beat him by 8.
Joshua Castillo got second. Mm-hmm. Eric Oakley got third, and Miles tied with Emerson Keith. Miles Seaborn tied for fourth place. So good job to those guys out there. And then, of course, in the Masters, our own
Kegler?
Donald Ellsworth got
Giggler.
first place.
Is he going out to the Memorial?
I don't remember if he said
how could the returning champ not go out there?
I don't know. I hope he does.
A-Ray, one of our Grandmasters, or now Pro Masters 50 plus.
Oh, right.
He got tied for second place. So good job.
Grandmasters just sounds so much cooler than
I agree.
50 plus.
Grandmaster disc golfers.
Yeah.
That's what it makes me.
Now I know people are going to be asking, but I don't want to rub the wound.
It's okay.
Too much.
It's okay. Robert did not play well
Robert
this
did
weekend.
not play very well.
Yeah, I was telling Bobby and the people who have asked me about it. So we haven't gotten to play a whole lot in the winter. I've probably since the beginning of the year I've probably thrown maybe 3 or 4 rounds.
It's like the under.
And then that's about right. And then did a little bit of field work the week before just to kind of, get my body back in throwing shape. And then I got out to the course and first hole was a forehand and I put it on the pole and I was like, hey, this is going to be okay. And then it was just downhill from there.
Yeah.
I just couldn't, on my backhand specifically, and I'm a backhand dominant player, when people say, maybe your mental game is not with you, they say just let muscle memory take over. So I try to do that. It honestly felt as if I had not thrown a disc before. I didn't have any control of my angles or anything like that. So it was a really confusing round, at least for the first one. Yeah,
I've been there.
So it was pretty frustrating. The rounds ended up being 956 and 960, both just honestly unacceptable. I mean, not like the worst rounds ever. I've certainly shot way worse rounds, but just very, very frustrating. Couldn't really get anything going. So
bummer.
Not much you can do except moving on to the next one.
Absolutely. So anyway, had a good time out at Winter Warm Up. Me and Anthony filmed. Anthony took the lead on filming the throw cam. So he's going to take the lead on producing that. So we'll have some tournament coverage for you guys.
Nice.
Which will be really cool. Eric was not at Monkey Island.
I was not at Monkey Island.
No, sorry.
Nobody was.
Or Louisville.
Eric was in New York.
I was.
Doing some course design
Binghamton.
Stuff.
I really just kind of, yeah, exactly.
Binghamton.
There it is.
Just say it fast.
Binghamton.
There you go.
There
Boom.
you go.
Nailed it. No, we had planned to go out there anyway, and I wanted to get out. It's with Troy Whidden, one of our Team DD guys. Last year got wind that he's going to be able to put in a course, a championship style, tightly wooded monster course in Binghamton, and he started a GoFundMe page to help raise funds for baskets and my design and tee signs and all that. So it sounds like the funds have all been raised, and now it's your typical city red tape that we got to get through to get to the end of it. So, we're working on getting through there, and I was just basically going out there to kill two birds kind of thing, kind of visit Dee's family and potentially walk the course, walk the property through the woods and kind of see what it was like. And it's New York in January, so it's going to be a little cold, little snow on the ground, but the woods are amazing. It's gonna set up great for a big champion tough course, and they don't really have that in the area. They don't have a true championship level course in that CNY area. They have a lot of challenging, very fun courses, but nothing like, par 68 type stuff.
Yeah, nice. Well, that's good.
I thought all holes were par 3s.
They are in the 80s.
In
the
80s. Okay,
yes.
my bad.
90s too.
Oh, also
nice.
My bad. Okay.
Yes.
Remember, guys, if you want Eric McCabe to come out to your area, you can reach out to coursesales@dynamicdisc.com, and he'll be happy to start a dialogue to see what can happen.
You can also just buy a lot of EMAC Truths, and he'll just come say thank you in person.
Yep.
Maybe he'll design a course
There's
while
a
he's there.
number
We'll see.
that you have to reach to do that, but we won't discuss that number.
It's between 1 and 1 billion.
Yes.
Somewhere in there, if you order that many.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
So we're going to hop on to the questions.
Yeah, questions.
Remember, guys, go to discgolfanswerman.com, submit your disc golf question. We will get it on the air. Or if you'd like to go to Facebook Messenger, if you're on Facebook, you can message the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook page. Or if you want to send us a voicemail, go to the SpeakPipe link at discgolfanswerman.com. Either way, we will ignore you. No, I'm playing. This one is from DJ.
What's up, cool daddy slick breeze? Eric, always the truth, McCabe, and Robert, very soon to be 1000 McCall.
Maybe not now.
Hey guys, so today is the 20th of January. I just got off the disc golf course in about 26-degree weather here in western Nebraska, and on 180 foot par 2, I just slammed my first ace.
Nice.
Been playing for about 8 months and pretty excited.
Par 2, so we got a birdie.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you crap. It's absolutely an ace.
Unfortunately, here in a week, I'll be leaving for basic training for the Air Force and won't be able to listen to my weekly Wednesday podcast. So I was kind of excited to hopefully get a question in before I go. So my question is simply, are there any military bases that Dynamic Disc has ever designed course for? I realize my technical training will be at Wichita Falls, Texas, and they actually have an 18-hole course. So hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit of studying done along with a whole lot of disc golf. So yeah, just wondering. Also, I had a tip, or maybe at least a name for a tip for Robert McCall. I maybe thought about, how about the quick tip with a quality quaff? Anyway, guys, God bless you. Thank you for everything you do, and I can't wait to catch up with the episodes after Basic. Thanks.
Dang.
Well, first off, good luck to you, and thank you for serving. Thank you for volunteering. I remember that. I remember that feeling right before going to boot camp when I joined the Marine Corps, and you're very anxious.
Yeah,
you're very whatever. And the first night, I remember laying in bed after being screamed and yelled at. I remember thinking, "What did I get myself into?
Right.
What is going to happen?" And there was guys crying. Because it was quite a culture shock. So be prepared.
I can only imagine.
And thank you for serving. Anyway, so do we have any courses we don't have anything we've designed?
I've never designed anything on an actual military base. I've played a handful of courses that are on military bases. I have never played the one in Wichita Falls. I don't know if Robert has.
I have.
Been in the area.
I think I've played a tournament there, yeah.
Okay. I know I've played one in, I think it was in Alabama. And then there was also the one at Worlds this last year that I didn't play, but I caddied for Paige. Yeah. But no, we don't have any DD courses that are on military bases just yet. But what better place for a DD course with veteran baskets than a military base?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future. Hopefully, soon. I know I mentioned last time I'm trying to figure out some kind of connection with the military and stuff like that I want to do myself along with partner with DD. And some of you have emailed me about that, and I thank you so much for that. I'm reading through them and getting ideas and trying to write notes and stuff, what might work and what could work and stuff like that. So keep sending those in. But how about the quaff, Robert?
A quick tip with what do you say, quality quaff?
Quaff, yeah.
I think when you were talking about guys who were, after your first day of boot camp, who were crying, I think that would have been me, but because they made me shave my head. I worked so hard. Anyway.
Yeah, and there's no style to it. It's just zzz.
Yep. I did that when I was in college. I just shaved my head, not straight like yours, but pretty short, just because I was like, I want to save money. I have no money, and I don't want to go back there. So.
All right, next question comes from Alan.
How's it going, DGAM fam? And thanks for answering my question last week about disc spin. This week I have another question about disc spin, but it's a little bit different. So I've noticed that a lot of pros and even some local players I play with, when they're talking or just relaxing, will spin the disc on their finger, much like a basketball player would spin a basketball. However, no matter how hard I've tried, I cannot do this at all. Is this some kind of a requirement for being a professional, is you have to be able to spin the disc on your finger? Because if so, I'm afraid I'll never be able to turn pro. Hopefully you can enlighten me on this. If you can't tell, I'm joking. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and hopefully it'll start a silly discussion. Thanks for all you do. See ya.
Well, Alan,
I don't really like silly discussions.
There's no hope for you, Alan, actually. So give up, sell your discs, and move on. Perhaps badminton might be good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
A nice badminton.
Yeah.
Badminton.
I don't know that there's a specific skill.
I know Will Schutrick does it better than anybody else.
He's unbelievable. He can start, here's a disc just hanging off his finger from the rim, and he can just start spinning it from there sideways up to just spinning perfectly in the middle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't.
He's good at it.
Yeah, he can make it happen.
Nice.
I don't know if you find the little what's the underside? Yeah, find the nipple on there and then just spin it and then you practice and now you're a professional.
Now you're a professional spinner.
But Will did just put out that disc golf instruction thing.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the courses is disc spinning. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's possible.
All right, let's go over to Facebook Messenger for the Disc Golf Answerman Show, and let's get a question from there. If my laptop will cooperate. This one is from Tom. Question for the show. I typically like to throw right-hand backhand, slightly understable distance driver to get those big turnover shots. I especially like the Sheriff. However, I find that when I add a slight anhyzer to the disc, it doesn't turn over as much and fades out pretty quickly. Is this due to not throwing the disc flat and losing some of the snap or high speed, which allows the disc to turn itself over? As always, disc on. Thanks.
I have a suggestion for you, and I think it's something that I struggle with also. So when you are throwing a hyzer, like a slight hyzer that turns over and throws, goes on a long anhyzer line, a lot of times when you're throwing on hyzer, it's kind of difficult to put the disc really nose up, right? You can get, I feel like I have an easier time getting the disc nose down or level throwing a hyzer that flips over. When I start to throw an anhyzer, a lot of times the anhyzer angle sometimes feels similar to a nose up angle out of your hand. So what you may be doing is pulling across, thinking and feeling like you're throwing an anhyzer, and it may start on an angle that moves to the right a little bit, but because it's nose up, it's not going to travel quite as far and get back to the left more quickly. I think that may be something that you are struggling with.
Yeah. You also got to take into consideration that the Sheriff's is a high-speed, large rim disc, so it's going to be very finicky and angle sensitive anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's also something to consider when you're out there throwing it.
For sure.
Excellent. Next one comes from Todd. To Cool Daddy, Slick Breeze, EMAC, Hair Guy, and any other special guest.
So, my name's Hair Guy.
Hair Guy.
Is it? Yeah, cool.
There's a bagger in the rec division of our local point series. Bagger. Seriously, he would have won the advanced card at the last local non-sanctioned event by 2 strokes. I placed second in rec, hence the salt, with a score
increased sodium levels,
with scores closer to the rest of the rec field. Third place was 1 stroke back from me, and fourth place was 2 strokes back. So, do I stay in this division to try to beat him? Revenge. He put that, not me. Or do I move up to play with the intermediate players to try to improve? Maybe play rec in the point series and intermediate in sanctioned events? To be fair, the bagger in question has very few events played, and he's a good guy and fun to play with. Thanks for the hard work, guys.
I would personally suggest moving up and playing with players that are better than you. That will absolutely help your game. There's really nothing you can do. I mean, in the all amateur divisions really are going to have baggers in them regardless. If it's rec or intermediate or advanced or whatever the case may be. So I always suggest to move up and play with players that are better than you. Granted, if you move up and you're getting like last place every single tournament, that's when you need to maybe step back down. But
right.
But if you're somewhere in the middle of the pack, that's pretty decent. And you're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, if you're playing one division up from where you normally should, I don't think you should get just waxed if you're doing okay in the division in which your rating dictates you should be. But yeah, I think you can move up too far. If you're scoring right around what most recreational players score, and then you decide all of a sudden you're going to move up and play advanced, yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a disheartening experience. You'll for sure get to play with better players, but you probably won't score similarly to them. So yeah, I think it's worth moving up to intermediate and checking that out. If I were you, I would probably recommend doing it the opposite way though. So instead of doing recreational in local stuff and intermediate in tournaments, I would probably do intermediate in like your local leagues and stuff like that, and then rec in tournaments for the most part. So that you're playing around people who are more your skill level when it matters more than just at a local league or something like that.
Sure.
And I know it's kind of a fun question he sent in, but my initial thought was, don't worry about his game, worry about your game.
Yeah, for sure.
The whole go back and beat him. I get it. You want to beat him and
literally
teach him a lesson. Yeah, and teach him a lesson, but worry about your game.
Yeah.
I know.
But if you do go back and beat him, The only lesson that you're teaching is that you're a bagger.
Mm-hmm. You're a
bagger
right?
begets
You're
bagger.
now a super bagger.
Super bagger.
Begets bagger.
Bagger begets bagger.
Yeah, that's right. I know we've been thinking about T-shirt ideas, so that could be one of them.
Let's see. This next one is from. We'll take it from.
I guess not.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I said that could be our new T-shirt idea, Bobby.
Bagger begets bagger.
Bagger begets bagger.
We better hurry up because now someone's going to steal it.
Disc golf answer.
Especially
trademark.
Some of those pages that just steal it.
Yeah, it's a verbal trademark. It's just
verbal.
as good.
Yep, just as good.
All right, here's the long one. You ready? Get the coffee ready. Matt from Maryland.
What's up, Matt?
In episode 203, you talked about constructing a bag around EMAC truths and escapes for the beginner player.
Seems smart.
I'm a noodle arm who has been playing for
Same.
about 3 years, and those are the workhorse molds in my bag.
You're smart, Matt.
Having recently lost my West Side Stag, which I used for shots that needed to be a little slower out of the hand and with a little more fade compared with the escape, I'm trying to figure out if I should just go with multiple escapes in EMAC truths, the more the merrier, I know, or if I should consider another stag, perhaps the River Pro, or something else for that slightly slower, stronger fade slot. I don't carry any discs faster than the escape on a regular basis. Seems to me like the Innova T-Bird is the gold standard neutral to stable disc, by the way, mids and faster fairway drivers.
Yep.
Is the DD line designed such that the EMAC Truth can do the work needed to say the escape or convict? That's my question about disc design, which relates to the question about my bag. For an intermediate noodle arm, would you recommend adding a more stable disc between the EMAC and an escape, or rather should I just try out different plastics in those two molds to maximize each mold's versatility?
All right.
Or should no, I'm teasing. That's it.
Well, if the EMAC and the escape are the most overstable fairways in your bag, EMAC being the mid, I absolutely think you need something more overstable.
Sure.
Especially if you're playing in the wind and whatnot. And if the stag worked for you in that slot, I'd get another one. Absolutely.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I would pick up one or two more of those just so you can have a couple backups. But if the stag worked great for you, man, grab another one.
Definitely. I know that he said, the T-Bird is the gold standard for that fairway kind of neutral flight. And the T-Bird's a great disc, and I threw them for years before switching over to dynamic discs. I will tell you, we do have some good options in that slot. I think the Convict is a great option in that slot. It's going to be more overstable than the Stag that you're used to, so keep that in mind. It's going to be the same speed as an Escape. But one that I would be looking out for is the Latitude 64 Explorer.
Yeah.
We've been testing those out and throwing those around some, and they are just really, really good.
Even the Getaway is going to be a good one, because I think the Explorer is going to be a little bit more overstable than what he's looking for.
Definitely more than a Stag.
If it was the Stag that was, I think the Getaway is going to be a little closer to that. Plus, it has the familiar feel of an Escape.
I agree.
So I think that could be another option.
Yeah, so that'll be around a April-ish release, probably GBO.
April BO.
Yep.
GBO times.
GBO. All right, guys, we're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about disc golf match play. So the site to go to find out more information about United States Amateur Match Play Championships is discgolfmatchplay.com. We wanted to update you on the event count. Last time, I think it was at 140, did I say?
I think so.
Sounds about
We
right.
are now at 182 events in 46 states.
Ooh.
46. We need to figure out what those other ones are.
I bet you Hawaii's not on there.
Probably not.
What the heck, Hawaii?
I don't know that.
Nope,
just
no
all
Hawaii.
It's just all luau's
about-
and grass skirts for you guys?
Alaska.
Alaska is not on there.
So there's two other ones, right?
To be fair, Alaska's computers are still frozen over.
That's probably
So just give them a
accurate.
minute and they'll be able to get back
That's
online.
probably accurate.
So what you can do, host local qualifying brackets of singles or doubles, and you can do that in your state. You host these. In other words, we don't host them. We just help facilitate it, and you host them in your area. It's a cool, fun thing to do.
Well, plus there's only 16 players that you got to host.
Right. It's not.
It's not like it's a whole tournament.
Right.
It's just 16 people, and it's not even.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people are kind of when they hear about becoming a TD and running an organized event, that they're kind of scared and nervous and don't want to step into it. But I'll tell you, the match play series is the easiest one to probably step into and run next to like trilogy challenges or something like that.
Maybe even easier than that.
It is, because you've only got 16 people to look after. Plus, it's like,
and with UDisc,
UDisc does all the separations and the seeding and whatnot. So all you really have to do is tell the players what courses they're playing, and they kind of go out and play the courses, and then maybe report back to you with who won. And it's I can't get over how easy it is to run one of these.
So a couple questions that people might have, we'll answer them real quick. Can I play in more than one local qualifier?
Yes.
You can, unless you win that qualifier.
Yes. However, you can only earn one spot to your state.
I won all of them in our state, so
no,
just me.
You can only win one spot in your state or province. Do you have to be a resident of the state in which you play the local qualifying bracket?
No.
Absolutely. Can a bracket TD play in the bracket they are directing?
Yes.
Please note, though, all brackets are created randomly using the UDisc application, so no advantage may be gained by the TD who is also playing.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is really good. You don't want the TD setting up the bracket. And
no, not at all.
I'll just take these really bad players for my first couple rounds.
Yeah, no.
How is third place decided? Third place is decided by a match between the losers from the semifinal.
So when there's final four, the two guys that lose play each other for third place and fourth place.
Yeah. So if you get into the top four, you're going to play 4 matches no matter what.
If you get into the top four, you're going home with some beautiful prizes.
Right. Well, that's the overall top
four.
Right?
Well, I'm talking about that too.
Yes.
And even on the site, on the frequently asked questions section, there's a place where it asks about how do I help promote it, and we actually give you some stuff to help promote in the packages that you purchase. So
nice.
So all kinds of good stuff. So we're super excited. Just want to get that out there. And remember, first place prize is 18 veteran baskets, 18 T signs to go anywhere you want it to go. Brand new course.
Your apartment complex.
Replace some baskets that need to be replaced in your favorite course. Also, along with that is discs for life. For the next 20 years after you win, you will have money credit to be able to get discs for life at dynamicdisc.com.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, if there's already an event in your area, that doesn't mean you shouldn't run another one.
Right.
And when you think about that, all 15 people that lose that bracket are going to want another shot.
Heck yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be really easy to fill these. I can't stress enough to help out, run an event.
No doubt.
It's going to be fun. Don't be one of those people that start seeing the media that I push out and the videos that you start seeing. Don't be that guy that says, man, I should have ran
I really
one.
should have done that.
No.
Yeah.
And you get it.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah,
and sweet discs, too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
2 of them.
Sweet.
All right, so let's get back to the questions. This one's from Patrick. Hey, guys, this past year I've really worked hard on my backhand by building up from a putter to now using a Saint for the majority of my drives.
Sweet.
I'm looking to try out a new driver to get a little extra distance. What driver should I try from Latitude 64 and DD? Thanks for all that you do, and keep it real.
Keep it real.
Let's see. You're throwing a Saint now. I would recommend a little more distance. The Saint's a pretty neutral to straight flying driver. Latitude 64, I would recommend maybe a Havoc or maybe a Flow.
Yep.
One of those
Flow
two.
Probably
Flow might be a little more overstable, but I think if the
a
Havoc,
good speed increase.
Havoc could be a little understable too. So one of those two I think could work out great. And then on the DD side of things, Trespass is probably going to be a little bit too overstable. I would say maybe a Renegade or possibly a Sheriff.
Yeah.
Sheriff's going to be, a little more high speed, maybe a little more unpredictable, but I think you're going to get some good distance out of it as well.
Yeah, Renegade is the one I would have said for sure. That's what I would check out.
Cool. Next one is from Corey. I heard on an episode that you will be at the Memorial early in February.
Ooh, late in February, but yes.
I'll be getting into town on February 21st and was wondering if you had time to play a practice round together.
Well, Corey, thank you for submitting your question. Thanks for listening to the show. When we get out to disc golf courses, when I say we, I'm talking about Bobby and myself. Eric will be there. He will be playing. He will be practicing. So you might have a chance to play a practice round with him. It just kind of depends on what his schedule is and what our schedule is. But when we get out there, we are not there to play disc golf. We are there to support our team, for Bobby to get videos, for me to make sure that the players have everything that they need. And that's what we do out there. So it is very unlikely that either one of Bobby or me.
More likely that
play a
Robert
practice
would
round.
get a practice round in.
Yeah, I mean,
Bobby.
I guess I could play like probably a few holes. I don't intend on bringing my disc golf bag, to tell you the truth.
I bet you do.
I mean, we've got a lot of room in the RV, so maybe I could, but I don't know. So.
I'm looking forward to the Memorial. It's going to be a great time.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm looking forward to warm weather.
It's just like playing is not my priority when we go to events like that.
Yeah.
But it is Eric's, so maybe you can catch around with him.
You excited about playing? Are you playing Masters in the Memorial?
I am excited about that. It'll be interesting to see how it all goes.
You're going to play with like a whole new group of people.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to be the new like young kid on tour again.
Who would you want if you had your way? Who would you want to play your first round in Masters with?
Like the very, very first round?
Like, yeah. Like, who would you like?
Well, there's a couple that come to mind, like Shasta Chris.
Yeah.
Shasta's
John Baldwin is another one. There's just so many to choose from.
Yeah.
Like so many old school golfers that I used to play with that moved up to Masters, and then
for sure there's some good Cali guys for sure.
Don Smith is fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many that are just it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
we'll have to do a specific interview after and to see how it felt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
see if it felt different.
Yeah, maybe it won't feel different at all, but maybe it will.
Maybe I get some like Ben Gay in my players
pack for when your muscles are sore.
Yeah. That's hilarious. All right, next one is
maybe
from
Giggler too.
He's always fun to play with.
Neon Kitty. With the acquisition of Westside Discs, will we be able to order Dymax versions of their most popular discs? I throw a lot of Westside Frisbees and would love to bag a Fortress, Northman, or Harp with some custom Dymax goodness on it.
I thought we had the Harp at one point.
So yeah, apparently there is some Westside available. I don't know that we'll have all of a sudden more, but yeah. Next one comes from, get to my question form. Rick.
What up, Rick?
Like my dad, Rick?
Meyer?
No. Different last name.
Hey, Disc Golf Instrument Crew. I'm loving disc golf to the nth degree. Can't get enough of it. Actually, he put fit.
Fit.
Been playing for several years, and I don't understand why everyone in the world doesn't feel the same way. My question is, what would it take to get disc golf as a sanctioned high school sport? Has anybody heard any rumblings about this or even tried to make this happen? Keep up the great work on the podcast.
I don't know. I know I'm sure it's been thought about. I don't know if anybody's ever approached. Who would you even approach to do that? I mean,
the principal of all schools.
It's
the one principal.
The main principal.
Yeah. Skinner.
Yep.
I would think you need to go to the superintendent Chalmers first.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, I don't know. I know our high school has a team,
at
least, and they kind of have Dymax discs that they raise for funds, and I think they all meet and play. It's kind of like on the college side, the collegiate side, that have the event out in Augusta every year.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into a high school team, I think that'd be great. I think it's awesome to get them started even younger, even go down to junior high, because I know our middle school, I think it is, has an 18-hole course on it, and they play it at gym class. I know they go out and play some disc golf that way. I don't know how difficult it would be to make it like officially sanctioned by.
Yeah.
I mean, the first steps, honestly, are I think the easiest but method that will take the longest amount of time is by getting kids involved in the game younger, right? Mm-hmm. So if every kid at the elementary school that feeds into your middle and high school loves disc golf because it's something that they've done for years now, then yeah, they're gonna take a much harder look at making that something official for the high school and junior high level.
Or move to Emporia, Kansas, where every school has a basket in the property.
Yep, that works too.
Yeah. Excellent. Let's go back to speak.
Hey,
what?
Kind of kept that going there. Good job.
You did it, man.
Let's go back
he
to.
Had no idea what he's talking about.
Nope. Let's go.
So.
What's up, Disc Golf Instrument Crew? This is your friend Chris from Oklahoma, and I have a rule scenario that played out on our Sunday Funday round that I'd like to hear your thoughts on. So my friend drives off the tee and lands in the fairway. He then proceeds to take his second shot. The second shot goes down the fairway and lands out of bounds in a terrible spot, and he chooses to abandon that shot and rethrow from the previous lie. Is he A, taking his third shot, B, dropping 3 and shooting his fourth shot, or C, dropping 3, taking 1 penalty and shooting his fifth shot? The rule 809.01 abandon throw reads that a player may choose to abandon a throw by declaring their intention to the group. The abandoned throw and one penalty throw are counted in the player's score, and the player plays from the lie from which the abandoned throw was made. Penalty throws incurred by the abandoned throw are disregarded. I thought it was B. Some people in the group thought it was A. Some people in the group thought it was C. I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts. Thanks. Always keep doing what you do.
Thanks, Chris.
So his second shot went OB.
Yes.
Okay. And then he re-threw from where he was.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Just
so
make sure I got it all.
Yeah. So in my opinion, and I mean, I'm not looking directly at the rule book right now, but yeah, B was the correct answer, the one that you were talking about. So anytime, no matter what happens to the disc, if you decide you want to rethrow from the same lie, you can do that.
What if I make it?
You're not going to want to decide to rethrow, but you could.
Are you sure you can?
I don't know.
After you've holed out.
I don't know. I guess you've already completed the hole.
That's right.
Well, then that would be a dumb decision.
So that's false.
Yeah, so my bad. Just move on to the next question. No, no matter what happens, if you throw, this is when it really comes in handy. You're on a slope and you're putting uphill at the basket. You hit the basket and the your putter rolls behind you into OB 100 feet away.
Yep.
You have the option to re-putt from that same lie with one penalty stroke. So if you were putting for 2 earlier, you've thrown your second shot, the disc has rolled down behind you, you would re-putt from that spot with one penalty throw. So your penalty throw would be 3, and then you'd be putting 4. So that's the same thing that happened in this scenario. He threw his second shot out of bounds. He decided to abandon that throw and play again from the same lie. So one penalty throw brings it to 3, and then he's throwing his 4th shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's how I rate it. That's how I would apply that rule.
Yep.
As well.
Now it would be hard for me to not want to advance the fairway at all. So I don't know if I would make that decision. But if it was in a totally awful spot, yeah, I guess I could see that happening.
It's usually, used more for if you're putting on the side of a hill from like 10 feet and you just doink the putt and it rolls 100 feet. That's when it's like, well, I might as well just re-putt
Just
this.
re-putt from here.
Yeah.
Yep.
This next one is from Angelo.
Hello, Disc Golf Answer Man. Anybody that's in the studio, this is Angelo calling from Clarkston, Michigan. And just want to say, long-time listener, love the podcast, and also everything Team Trilogy that Dynamic Disc brings to our great sport. My question is this. Being that our sport is still considered small compared to like baseball, football, soccer, and all these other ones, to me, I think that allows our pros to be more approachable on and off the course, social media and everything. My question is this. If our sport was to be more mainstream like those other sports, would that kind of coax our pros to not be as approachable? I don't think it will. I don't think, because since I started this sport, I'd have to say we have the best fan base, players, and interactions with pros and companies than any other sport that's out there. And so that's my question. And hopefully everything goes well this upcoming season. Looking forward to EMAC's new course coming up in the UP of Michigan.
Nice.
I plan to get there. That's all I got for right now. Thank you. Have a good day, y'all.
Thank you. The UP is going to be amazing.
Nice.
So my thinking is, so the question is, as our sport gets bigger, or once our sport gets bigger, becomes, quote, mainstream, will our pros be less approachable? I bet you're going to have some pros that will.
You will absolutely have some that are.
Right. We'll have some that aren't
now.
Right. We have some now that, and that's not to say that they're like
me.
Yeah.
It's Eric.
And that's
not to say they're bad people.
No, that they're bad
yes,
people.
It does.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding, obviously.
I'm not saying that makes them bad people. It's just that, I mean, I'm nowhere near the top pro players, but I find myself not having time to chat and text and call everybody that reaches out to me.
Right.
I try my hardest, but it's just inevitable that as we grow, more attention is brought to the pros. They're not going to be able to interact with everybody as much as they did before. I mean,
yeah. Well,
right.
I think the obvious answer is to an extent, yes.
Yeah. Well, you've got like pros right now. They're the ones that post on their Facebook page. Hey, I've got some discs for sale. Whatever, and then they're the ones who wrap it up and they package it and they send it out. You're not going to find that in other sports.
Yeah,
right. There's going to
be. You see Jordan Spieth selling his irons?
Yeah, no,
and packaging them up.
No,
and sending them out.
I would buy one if you did.
I would as well.
But that's not going to happen. That's at some point it's going to become so big that these players are going to have to say, I'm going to have somebody else take care of this. So that's going to be a level of separation. So yeah. Now, are you going to still have certain people that are probably still going to be more approachable and more personable? Of course, that's just that's
nature of the beast, so to speak.
I don't think fame or social media changes people; it just exposes them. So the people that would be approachable are still going to be approachable somewhat.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think you made a really good point in that some of that would probably happen out of necessity, just because we have so many more people interacting with us, right? So at a disc golf course right now, let's say Ricky Wysocki goes and wins the tournament, and there's 180 people there, or however many. Not all of those people are going to want to go talk to Ricky, but some of them will. And so let's say he talks to 30 or 40 people. Awesome. What if now he's playing at a tournament with 1,000 people and there's 3,000 spectators there, right? That would be a big, huge jump for us. He's not going to be able to talk to even a small percentage of those just because there's so many people. Right. And so some of that I think will happen out of necessity. It's like you said, I don't think it'll change people. I don't think all of a sudden they'll flip a switch and people who were approachable are now just like, nah, I can't. We're too big. But I do think some of that would happen as numbers grew.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right, guys, we're going to take another real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming Chasing the Chains RV schedule.
Nice.
So the other day I got a message, and then I ended up asking that person to call me. We got on a phone call. And this person was very passionate and about something that was going on in his area, in the New Hampshire area. And he wanted to get some kind of awareness or let people know more about it. So I don't know if he wanted me to specifically talk about it, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. What it is it's a website called Discs Against Heroin. And I kind of felt for the story he was telling me about his area, because I've watched some shows where, the opiate addiction and stuff like that is becoming more and more rampant and becoming a problem and stuff like that for certain areas. And he just really felt strongly. He felt a lot of conviction because, the area he lives in is a flourishing area, an upscale area, but yet they've got this epidemic of addiction happening, and it's kind of ruining a little bit of what's going on in the area. So he's very passionate about it. So he made a website called Discs Against Heroin. It's basically that, discsagainst.heroin.com. And he actually purchases items and gives them out and tells people, instead of doing something that hurts you, here's something that helps you, and that's go out and play disc golf. So if that's something, I just kind of wanted to use our platform to get some awareness of it. And to say, if you want to reach out and help this guy or help spread the word, check out the website, discsagainst.heroin.com. Sounds like he's doing some really good stuff for some people that might need some help to get away from the addiction problem. But I do want to talk also about the RV schedule. We have 3 RVs for Dynamic Discs and 1 for Latitude 64. They go across the nation to do disc golf events and help spread the word of disc golf and help introduce people to who maybe don't know our plastic. They're doing a little bit different this time, where they're having specific areas where they're going to be at, but I have access to their RV schedule, and I want to
Are you going to change it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to send them all over the place.
You're not going to Alabama anymore.
So there's some coming up, and if you're in this area, you need to be on the lookout. Let's see, January 30th. Let's look at February schedule. Now these, hopefully I don't get them in trouble, because I don't know which ones are solidified or which ones they're.
Let's just assume they're all tentative at this point.
They're all tentative. So coming up on March 9th I'm sorry, February 9th, there'll be one of them. J Ray will be in Abilene, Texas.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I like Abilene.
And February 10th, one of them will be in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Probably Ty.
That sounds like a Ty place to be.
Then there'll be one in El Paso, Texas, on the 11th of February, and then in February 11th, Panama City Beach, Florida. February 16th is the Frostbreaker Doubles in Mission, Kansas. Then there'll be one in St. Petersburg, Florida. Then San Diego, California, February 17th. February 18th, that's the same as St. Petersburg, Florida. February 22nd is, of course, will be at Las Vegas. Oh, to the 23rd, Tallahassee, Florida. The 25th, Jacksonville, Florida.
Ty's all over the place down there, man. And J Ray's working his way west. It sounds like.
So anyway, just to kind of get you guys filled in on a little bit of the RV schedule, we're trying to get it out there so you guys know where they're going. If you want more information, go to Facebook and look them up. Chasing the Chains on Facebook, and you can follow their Facebook page. All right, we got time for a few more questions.
Sweet, let's do it.
Let's go to Rock.
G'day, Disc Golf Answer Man crew. Eric, Rob McCall, and Bobby, and anyone else you got visiting at the moment. It's always good to hear some fresh opinions. This is Rock. Just curious about the plastics you guys use with putters. And I'm thinking exclusively for putting putters, not driving off the tee putters. I've seen things like your judges and your wardens, and of course your new deputy, used with classic soft, classic blend, and also prime plastic. Two questions relating to that. Number one, fresh out of the box, which of those plastics generally flies the most overstable? And over time, which of those plastics beats in the fastest? Or indeed, could you put those discs, those different plastics, on a scale from, beats in the quickest to beats in the slowest, and also most overstable to least overstable straight out of the box? Look forward to hearing your thoughts, and it's been great hearing from all your new recruits to the Dynamic Disc family recently, hearing their stories, their history, and what they plan to do in the future. Look forward to hearing your thoughts, and I'll catch you later. Boy.
Is he from Memphis?
I think so, yeah. Sounds he and Zach Melton, same accent.
Yeah.
Georgia.
Thanks, Rock. Appreciate
same
it.
accent. Yeah. Thanks for calling in, Rock.
I wanted to say Cool Daddy Slick Breeze in the accent.
I want to go visit
He's never
him.
going to.
I want to go visit him.
Visit him?
I don't care where he lives.
You know what? Let's just shoot one of these, remote location, Australia.
Okay. Next week?
See you there.
All right, so to his question.
I'm interested. All right, so as far as plastics go, in putters like the Judge and the Warden, I think most of them are pretty similar to start off, at least within the classic ones. I would say that the soft, it usually goes that the soft will maintain its stability for the longest because it absorbs more hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
I putt with hard putters. Eric, for the most part, putts with hard putters. Yeah. Those kind of can get hard or prime, depending. Those can get dinged a little bit easier than soft putters can. Say a soft putter hits a tree or hits the top of the basket. For the most part, it's going to maintain its shape, right? So softer putters will maintain their overstability just a little bit longer than, say, a blend will or a classic hard or something like that. But I don't think there's such a difference that if one of them felt better to you, like say I putt with hard putters, but I really needed some extra overstability, I would probably just grab a new hard putter as opposed to putting with a soft putter all the time, because I don't want to have to deal with any inconsistency with that. Mm-hmm. Prime usually starts off a touch less overstable than the classic versions, and then it'll beat in the quickest.
Yeah, I would say for the most part that's pretty accurate. Prime definitely beats in the quickest.
Definitely.
I think it's a toss-up, though, between soft and blend on which one is more overstable out of the box.
Yeah, I'll agree.
It kind of depends on if you're talking about putting or throwing as well, because if you're putting, I don't really notice a difference across the board too terribly much. But as far as throwing goes, I think the softer the blend is going to be more overstable, brand new.
Yep, I agree.
Next one comes from Robert.
Oh, what's up?
Asking yourself questions.
Mm-hmm. So you can.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man crew.
Oh,
can't wait to see you guys in Texas for the Dirty Dozen tour, Eric McCabe. Hopefully, I can get your signature at the Cedar Hill Chill.
You sure can.
Can't wait to see Eric Oakley throw my home course at Battle at the Bond.
Already
Today,
did.
I'm coming with a question. The main part of the question. I guess it's a 2-part question. The main part of the question is, what fits in between a justice and a felon for forehand shots? I like to throw it. I'm looking for something, I guess, that throws straight for about 250 to 275, and then also gives a straight-ish skip. It's okay to fade a little bit more. I really want it to hold up against a sidearm. My friends are telling me something like a trident or a spark. But again, I want something that flies really similar to a felon, but it's a little bit easier to predict. Something that goes, again, about 260 to 280, very straight, and has a forward or just a right skip on a forehand. Something like I throw now eagles. I guess that's the second part of the question is what throws similar to an Eagle X mold?
I'm also looking for a disc that I can forehand 280 feet dead straight.
Yeah. Is that because of the disc or?
No.
Oh, okay. I see.
No.
I think the Trident is a really good recommendation there.
It is, but it's not, because Tridents are starting to become more and more difficult to get a hold of.
I guess that's true.
Since it's the out of production, but
Yeah.
there's so many good fairway drivers that have come out this last year that kind of fall in that line.
Right. Because I'm trying to think slower than a speed 9.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's what the felon is.
True.
And then faster than a Justice, which is I think a 5.
And then Eagle X. So what's similar to an Eagle X?
Eagle is around a speed 7-8 somewhere in there.
And they're overstable, right?
Yeah, they're pretty overstable. I don't think the Spark is a bad suggestion. Depending on the one that you get, it might be a little bit more overstable than you'd like for something like that. But I know that Goldline Sparks, at least the newer ones, are generally a little bit straighter than the Opta ones have been.
Or are they repurposed? Is that what
recycled.
Recycled.
Recycled Sparks are quite a bit straighter, and I think you might like that as well. I think that's a good recommendation. In our lineup, I don't think there's anything that fits really well right there. The Convict is obviously less overstable than the Felon.
Although the Convict could be a good choice.
It could. I've seen a lot of people. Peter was saying that he really likes that for kind of hyzer flip forehand shots.
And it may be something as easy as like a biofusion Felon.
Might
be a great option too, because it tends to be a little bit more or less overstable. And I know the ones that I have had in the past have held a nice straight line on backhands.
For sure.
Excellent. Next question comes from, go to the wrong tab and you have to wait. This is from Michael. Each disc requires a certain amount of speed when thrown to fly like it is designed. What happens when you throw a slower disc, mid-range or putter, with the speed of a driver? Does the flight path change drastically? Obviously, when you throw it without enough speed, most discs, if not all, will hyzer out earlier than designed. What say you?
What say you?
Well, I'll say some stuff. I think if you throw a mid-range harder than it's intended to be thrown. Now, we may have a misconception here. Yes, there is a problem if you don't get a disc up to speed. At the same time, I don't think that speed is necessarily the problem when you're throwing, mid-ranges or fairways or something like that. Like Eric throws hard and far, and he can get EMAC Truths to do what he wants them to do. And the biggest part of that makes that able to happen is that he has really clean form. So when he lets the disc go, there's not a lot of wobble on it, not a lot of off-axis torque. I think if there's any issue with throwing a disc faster than it's intended, it would be that sort of off-axis torque that would cause it to wobble offline and usually fly more on an understable path than
a wounded duck.
Than it should. Yes, just right. So I don't think. Yes, you could throw them too fast, but that doesn't mean that it would be a bad flight. It would just usually be a slightly more understable one, especially if you throw it cleanly.
Correct.
So
I would agree with that. Speed. I mean, you don't want to. Let's go ahead and hear your take.
No,
you don't want to in my opinion, on mid ranges at least. I never want to throw my mids 100%. If I'm throwing my mid 100%, I'd rather tone back and grab a fairway driver and 80% it. You know, it's just a lot easier than when you start throwing things as hard as you can. You bring injury into play, you bring inconsistent flights into play, and numerous other things that can just go wrong.
Right. Yeah, it's just I don't know. That's kind of a tough one, honestly, because I've seen we watch people sometimes that can throw their mid ranges 400 feet, and that's nuts. And you can't tell me that the speed at which they're throwing those isn't faster than the disc was intended to be thrown. It is
correct.
So it has everything to do with their form and maintaining like the same angle at pullback and hit and follow through.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You nailed it though with clean form.
Yeah,
I think so.
Super important.
Next one comes from Dylan. How fast is it really possible to progress? I discovered disc golf about 3 years ago. The first year I played, I was using only an ultimate disc. I'd got some real discs then, but I didn't really start playing seriously until last spring. Since then, I've played 4 to 5 days a week. I hear over and over on Reddit and on Disc Golf Answerman that players who have been playing for about a year should just barely be venturing into slower drivers. But I was about 3 months into playing seriously when I started being able to get the speed 8s and 9s significantly further than a mid. According to the PDJ website, I'm currently of the right skill level to play intermediate, except for the bit about having played for 3 years. Is my situation likely, or am I just horrible at judging my own progress?
Horrible.
You are horrible.
I think it varies from player to player.
Yeah, it's different, right? There are some people who have been playing for years and years and years and who will never progress past intermediate or advanced.
And did he say he played ultimate before or just threw an ultimate disc?
He didn't. He just said I threw ultimate discs. He didn't say like I did ultimate.
So I mean, you may be ahead of the game already by knowing if you start with an ultimate disc, I think you're going to progress a lot faster with disc golf because if you can throw an ultimate disc without turning it over, that means that you learned how to throw that shot. Like if you give somebody who's never thrown an ultimate disc or a frisbee, you give them one of those, a disc golfer that throws discs, and they try to throw that, 90% of the time they're going to turn it over.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much touch involved and angle sensitivity and so many things. So I think that you already have an advantage by knowing how to throw an ultimate disc.
Yeah, I agree. And as far as progress goes, yeah, each person is different, I know that there are people who started out playing like open tournaments the first year that they played just because they came along really quickly. I don't know. It's just different from person to person.
Excellent. Next one comes from Marty. Hello, Disc Golf Answerman. I listen to your podcast while at work. Love them. So I've played disc golf for 2 years now. Love the sport. My wife calls me a nerd. LOL.
Gimli nerd.
So I've always threw Discraft. I want to throw some dynamic discs. What's some discs to try out? What's some discs to try out? I throw forehand, plus I'm a bigger guy. I would love to hear your talk about it on the podcast. Thanks. So what kind of disc should a person start out forehand?
Trespass always comes to mind on a forehand disc. Maybe that's just because that's what I throw for forehands, but Trespass is always coming to mind. Depending on your arm speed, I mean, it would have been awesome if you gave us a list of Discraft discs.
Yeah, like this is what, if I throw the Nuke or the Nuke OS or the Force, whatever it is.
Defender's another one. It's going to be quite a bit more overstable than other things in our line, but I think the Trespass is always a good go-to forehand disc for me personally.
Because it's got some decent stability, but it can stay straighter a little bit longer.
You're going to probably have to, it's going to have to come out more likely on a nice hyzer line, but so yeah, and if you grab a Trespass and it's flipping over, that's when you kind of go up to the next stability as far as like a Defender goes, or maybe even Enforcer, Felon. Those are kind of the more overstable side of things from our lineup.
Right. Yeah, and if you'd like to share with us the discs that you are throwing, Eric was sponsored by Discraft for years and years and years. So I think he'd have
years.
Yeah, how many of those?
10 of them.
10 of those years. If you would share some of those, we might be able to make some better suggestions for you based on what you already throw.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's all the time we have, guys, for this episode. We won't have, I forgot to put out some polls and surveys,
Bobby.
So we won't have.
It's a good thing I did.
Gonna do anything?
Oh, you did?
No,
Okay.
I thought about it, but
So
I never did.
So I know.
You want to talk about some other stuff?
We could just pretend
and
talk about other things.
I got some things we can talk about. So so the next survey and polls episode that you
will
hear
not be about survey and polls.
We're just gonna jab. It's gonna be the after show. Let's call it the after show.
No, let's not.
Has anybody come up with that?
I don't think so. I think it's a brand new idea.
I think we're good to go.
So, but definitely make sure you check out our Spotify playlist, the Disc Golf Answer Man, the Gam Jams. Search for it. You can search Disc Golf Answer Man on Spotify, and you'll find our jam list, or you can listen to the podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Play, and your favorite podcast app that you have. There was something else I was going to mention. Can't remember.
Sign up to run a U.S. Amateur match play.
Sign up to run a match play.
In your area.
In your face. Oh, I mean, area.
In your area.
In your area. Cool. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye.